Ladies, listen to me. There are 4 things, just 4, that can kill your value in front of a man. And when I say kill it, I mean drop it faster than a bad stock. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you so you can win, because you deserve to win. So let's get into it. When you're always available to a man, you send a message without even realizing it. You're telling him that your time isn't valuable, that you don't have priorities of your own, that your world can stop spinning the moment he calls. At first, it might seem sweet. He asks if you can meet up and you drop everything. He texts and you answer before the phone finishes buzzing. He cancels and you say, "That's okay, maybe another time." What you think is showing how much you care actually shows him that he doesn't have to do much to keep your attention. Men are hunters by nature. They value what they work for, what they chase, what they earn. When you're too available, the hunt ends before it even starts. There's no sense of accomplishment, no reason to feel proud of winning. And the truth is, people don't value what's just handed to them without effort. Think about it. If somebody gave you a trophy without you playing the game, would you display it with pride? No, you know you didn't earn it. Same thing here. When you don't make him work for your time, your conversation, your energy, he doesn't treasure it. Being too available can also make you seem like you don't have a life of your own. Men are attracted to women who have their own things going on, their own goals, their own schedules, their own passions. When every second of your day is wide open for him, he starts wondering, why doesn't she have anything else happen? A woman who is busy, who has things to do and dreams to chase is intriguing. She's a challenge. She's someone he has to figure out how to fit into his life, not someone sitting around waiting to be invited in. And it's not about playing games, it's about having a life that's so full and rewarding that you're not sitting around waiting for a text or a phone call. It's about moving through your own world with purpose and letting him figure out how to meet you there. When you do that, you're not only showing self-respect, but you're raising the standard for how he has to approach you. He has to plan. He has to think ahead. He has to show he's worthy of a space in your already full life. Men respect what they have to earn. They step up when they see that they need to, but if they don't have to, they won't. It's not about being mean. It's not about being unavailable just to make a point. It's about living your life with the understanding that anyone who wants a piece of your time needs to bring something to the table. And if he really wants you, he'll do it. He'll make those calls, set those dates, show up when he says he will. He'll treat you like the prize you are because he had to reach for you, not because you handed yourself over without him lifting a finger. The way you speak about yourself sets the tone for how others will treat you, especially a man you're interested in. When you constantly talk bad about yourself, even in small joking ways, you chip away at your own value right in front of him. You might not even notice it. You say things like, "I'm so dumb," or "I'm not really that pretty," or "I always mess things up." You think you're being humble. You think you're being real, but what you're really doing is planting seeds of doubt in his mind. A man listens closely to how you view yourself, and if you don't believe in your own worth, he won't either. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a woman can have. It's not about arrogance. It's not about acting like you're better than everyone else. It's about knowing who you are and carrying yourself like you matter. When you speak about yourself with pride, with self-respect, with gratitude for who you are and what you bring to the table, a man can't help but take notice. It draws him in. It makes him want to know more about you. It sets a standard for how he has to approach you. On the flip side, when you downplay your beauty, your intelligence, your heart, you make it easy for a man to take you for granted. If you don't see yourself as special, why should he? If you're telling him all your flaws before he even asks, he's going to believe you. Not because he sees them, but because you pointed them out. You gave him the roadmap to devalue you. And some men, the wrong kind, will use that to their advantage. They'll treat you exactly how you treat yourself. It's important to understand that the words you speak about yourself have power. They shape your reality, they shape your energy, and they shape the way others experience you. If you walk into a room with your head high, smiling, loving yourself without needing to tear anybody else down, you become magnetic. You become unforgettable. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to shout it from the rooftops. It's in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you look somebody in the eye without flinching. A man wants a woman who knows she's a catch. A woman who doesn't need him to validate her, but who welcomes his love because she already loves herself. When you speak life into yourself, when you compliment yourself, when you celebrate your wins, big or small, you show him that you are whole all by yourself. You are not looking to be completed, you are looking to be completed. And there's a big difference. A man respects a woman who knows her own worth because he knows he has to step his game up to stand beside her. He knows she's not going to tolerate half love, half effort, half truth. She's walking in full confidence. And anything less than that just won't do. Accepting disrespect from a man immediately lowers how he sees you, how he values you, and how he chooses to treat you moving forward. Disrespect doesn't always show up in some big dramatic moment either. Sometimes it's in the small things you brush off. He shows up late without calling. He speaks to you with a sharp tone. He makes little jokes that cut deeper than you let on. You tell yourself it's no big deal, that maybe he was just tired or stressed or didn't mean it the way it sounded. But every time you excuse bad behavior, you teach him that it's acceptable to treat you that way. Men are very observant when it comes to boundaries. They notice what you let slide, what you correct, and what you ignore. If a man realizes he can be inconsistent, disrespectful, or thoughtless, and you still stick around, he's not going to suddenly decide to do better. In fact, he'll do less. That's because you've sent the message that there are no real consequences for mistreating you. Respect isn't something you can beg for, it's something you demand by the way you carry yourself and the standards you uphold. When a man respects you, it shows in everything he does. It shows in the way he talks to you, the way he listens when you speak, the way he prioritizes you in his life. Respect and love go hand in hand. A man can say he loves you, but if he doesn't respect you, that love will always be selfish. It will always be on his terms, when it's convenient for him, when it fits into his plans. Disrespect can start small, but it grows over time if it's not checked. What you accept early becomes the foundation for how the relationship will move forward. Some women stay silent because they're afraid to lose it. They think if they speak up, if they demand better, he'll walk away. But the truth is, if a man leaves because you require respect, he was never meant to stay. A real man wants to honor a woman who honors herself. He's not intimidated by your standards, he's inspired by them. Disrespect is never a mistake, it's a choice. And when you allow it, you're making a choice too, whether you realize it or not. It's not about arguing or demanding attention. It's about calmly and clearly letting someone know what you will and will not tolerate. It's about having enough love for yourself to walk away from anyone who cannot meet that standard. When you let a man know from the very beginning that you respect yourself too much to accept mistreatment, you set the tone for the entire relationship. You are not being difficult, you are being clear. You are not being dramatic, you are being protective of your peace, your heart, and your future. A woman who holds herself to a high standard forces a man to either rise to meet her or get out of the way. Losing yourself in a man is one of the fastest ways to lose your value in his eyes. In the beginning, everything feels exciting. You meet someone new, and suddenly all you want to do is spend time with him. You start prioritizing his needs over your own. You stop making time for the things you loved before he came along. You cancel plans with your friends. You skip out on your hobbies, and you slowly start fading into his world instead of continuing to build your own. At first, it feels like love. It feels like devotion. But over time, it turns into resentment, and not just from him, from you too. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own life, their own dreams, their own passions. That's what attracted them to you in the first place. You had your own shine, your own light. You had things that excited you outside of him. When you give all of that up just to fit into his life, you dim that light. You become predictable, easy to access, and unfortunately, easier to take for granted. A man can't admire what he doesn't have to work to be a part of. If you hand him the center of your world, you stop being the exciting, independent woman he was first drawn to. Being in a relationship should add to your life, not replace it. Your identity should never shrink just to make someone else comfortable. A strong, confident man wants a woman who stands strong next to him, not one who loses herself underneath him. He respects the woman who still shows up for herself, who still takes care of her body, her mind, and her goals. He feels proud to be part of a life that is already full. He feels honored to be included, not entitled to your every second. When you lose yourself in a man, you also create a dangerous imbalance. You start relying on him for all your emotional fulfillment. You expect him to be your everything, your partner, your best friend, your counselor, your entertainer, your world. No one can carry that kind of weight forever. Relationships thrive when two whole people come together, not when one person expects the other to complete them. When you continue to nurture your own identity, you stay in control of your happiness. You don't put that burden on his shoulders. Maintaining your independence within a relationship also keeps the respect alive. When a man sees that you still have a life that you love, he knows he has to continue bringing his best to stay in it. He knows he can't slack off because you're not sitting around waiting for his next move. You're moving with or without him. That doesn't mean you're cold or distant. It means you understand your worth and you protect it. Staying true to who you are is not selfish, it's necessary. It's the foundation for a healthy relationship built on mutual respect, admiration, and genuine love. Setting clear boundaries early in a relationship is one of the most important ways to establish your value and protect your heart. Boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out. They are guidelines that show others how to treat you. When you meet a man, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and overlook small things that don't sit right with you. You tell yourself it's too early to bring it up, or you don't want to seem difficult. But every time you ignore something that bothers you, you move a little farther away from your standards and a little closer to accepting behavior you don't truly want. Men notice what you allow. From the first conversation, the first date, they are paying attention. They see if you let them speak over you, if you accept last-minute plans, if you laugh off disrespectful jokes, if you let them cross lines without checking them. When you set a boundary, you're not being mean or overly sensitive. You're being clear about who you are and what you expect. A man who is serious about you will respect those boundaries. A man who isn't will push against them or disappear, which saves you time and heartbreak. Boundaries show that you value yourself. They communicate confidence without you having to say a word. A woman who knows what she will and won't accept is a woman who stands out. She doesn't have to argue, yell, or explain herself over and over. She simply knows her limits and enforces them with calm consistency. She doesn't chase after people who violate her boundaries. She doesn't bend her standards to keep someone around. She understands that the right man will honor her guidelines because he sees her worth. Setting boundaries early also sets the tone for the relationship's future. If you start off being flexible with your values to avoid conflict, it becomes much harder to correct the behavior later. What you allow at the beginning becomes the expectation going forward. If you accept disrespect once, you'll likely face it again. If you allow inconsistency once, it will become a pattern. It's easier to set the right expectations from the start than to try to fix a broken dynamic later. Clear boundaries also protect your peace. They help you filter out men who are only interested in taking advantage of you. A man who has good intentions will appreciate your boundaries. He'll step up, he'll listen, he'll want to understand what makes you comfortable and what doesn't. He'll see your standards not as obstacles, but as opportunities to prove he's worthy of your time and trust. The men who get offended, defensive, or distant when you set boundaries reveal themselves quickly, and that's a gift. It's better to know who's not for you sooner rather than later. You don't have to announce your boundaries like a speech or list them like a job interview. They show up naturally through your actions, your choices, and your reactions. They show up when you say no without apologizing, when you don't explain yourself to someone who doesn't deserve it, and when you walk away from situations that don't honor who you are. Valuing consistency over charm is a principle that can completely change the way you experience relationships. Charm is easy to spot. It's in the smooth talk, the compliments, the grand gestures early on. It's intoxicating because it feels good in the moment. A charming man can sweep you off your feet with his words, make you feel like the most special woman in the world, and create a fantasy so powerful you start believing you found something real. But charm without consistency is just performance. It's an act designed to win you over without the work of actually maintaining a healthy connection. When you make consistency your standard, you automatically filter out a lot of heartache. You stop giving energy to men who are all talk and no action. You stop confusing chemistry for compatibility. You stop building castles in the air based on promises that were never going to be kept. You start choosing from a place of strength, clarity, and self-respect. Making a man earn your time and attention is not about playing games. It's about recognizing your own worth and setting the tone for how you expect to be treated. When you give your time freely to someone who hasn't proven anything, you risk sending the message that access to you is easy, that your energy is something to be taken for granted. Men value what they have to work for. It's human nature. When something comes too easily, it doesn't carry the same weight or importance. A man will chase a goal, a dream, a woman he sees as valuable because the pursuit itself makes the reward more meaningful. Too often women rush to be overly available, overly giving, thinking that by doing so, they are showing how much they care or how invested they are. But in reality, what happens is the man doesn't have to show up as his best self. He doesn't have to plan. He doesn't have to commit. He doesn't have to make any real effort because he already has what he wants without lifting a finger. Time and attention are some of the most valuable things you can offer, and when you give them to someone who hasn't earned them, you devalue them without even realizing. A man should be showing through his actions that he deserves a place in your life. He should be consistent, respectful, and intentional. He should be making plans, keeping his word, showing genuine interest in who you are beyond just the surface. When a man knows he has to earn your time, he steps into a higher version of himself. He puts in effort, not because you're demanding it with words, but because you require it with your stand. You don't chase, you don't beg, and you don't wait around hoping he'll notice you. You live your life, and he has to find a way to fit into it. Setting boundaries early also sets the tone for the relationship's future. If you start off being flexible with your values to avoid conflict, it becomes much harder to correct the behavior later. What you allow at the beginning becomes the expectation going forward. If you accept disrespect once, you'll likely face it again. If you allow inconsistency once, it will become a pattern. It's easier to set the right expectations from the start than to try to fix a broken dynamic later. Make clear boundaries. Also, protect your peace. They help you filter out men who are only interested in taking advantage of you. A man who has good intentions will appreciate your boundaries. He'll step up, he'll listen, he'll want to understand what makes you comfortable and what doesn't. He'll see your standards not as obstacles, but as opportunities to prove he's worthy of your time and trust. The men who get offended, defensive, or distant when you set boundaries reveal themselves quickly, and that's a gift. It's better to know who's not for you sooner rather than later. You don't have to announce your boundaries like a speech or list them like a job interview. They show up naturally through your actions, your choices, and your reactions. They show up when you say no without apologizing, when you don't explain yourself to someone who doesn't deserve it, and when you walk away from situations that don't honor who you are. Valuing consistency over charm is a principle that can completely change the way you experience relationships. Charm is easy to spot. It's in the smooth talk, the compliments, the grand gestures early on. It's intoxicating because it feels good in the moment. A charming man can sweep you off your feet with his words, make you feel like the most special woman in the world, and create a fantasy so powerful you start believing you found something real. But charm without consistency is just performance. It's an act designed to win you over without the work of actually maintaining a healthy connection. Consistency, on the other hand, is where the truth lives. A consistent man shows you who he is, not just when he's trying to impress you, but day after day. He doesn't just say sweet things when he wants something. He shows up when he says he will. He calls when he promises. He treats you with respect, whether you're alone or in front of others. His actions match his words. He doesn't need to be coached, reminded, or chased to follow through on his intent. He understands that real love isn't about grand moments. It's about small daily choices that build trust over time. Many women fall for charm because it's exciting. It gives you butterflies. It makes you feel desired and noticed. But butterflies can blind you. They can make you overlook the gaps between what a man says and what he actually does. They can make you excuse inconsistencies, rationalize broken promises, and stay longer than you should in a situation that isn't truly healthy for you. Charm can pull you in quickly, but it can't sustain a relationship if there's no foundation of reliability underneath it. Consistency might not always come with fireworks at first, but it builds something much stronger: security. When a man is consistent, you don't have to wonder where you stand with him. You don't have to decode mixed signals or stay up at night analyzing every little thing he says or does. You can relax, be yourself, and grow together without the constant emotional roller coaster that charming but unreliable men often bring. Consistency is calm, it's steady, it's dependable, and that's what builds real love over time. Choosing consistency over charm also shows maturity in how you approach relationships. It means you're not just chasing a feeling, you're building a future. You're looking for someone who shows up for you, not someone who dazzles you for a season and disappears when things get real. You're setting a standard that says, I care more about how you treat me every day than how impressive you can be for a week. A consistent man might not always say the perfect thing or plan the most elaborate dates, but his heart will be in the right place and his loyalty will be proven through action, not word. This doesn't mean being rude, cold, or distant. It means living in such a way that your schedule is full of things that fulfill you: your work, your passions, your friends, your family, your health. It means you have a life that you love, and anyone who wants to be part of it has to bring something meaningful to the table. You are not pausing your life for a man. You are inviting him into a life that is already rich and full, and only if he shows he's worthy of that invitation. When you make a man earn your time and attention, you also protect yourself from falling for empty promises. Words are easy, but consistency, effort, and follow through are rare. You give yourself the space to observe his actions without being clouded by constant proximity or emotional attachment too early. You stay in control of your emotions and your future. You show him that while you are open to love, you are not desperate for it. And that distinction makes all the difference. You are the prize, and he needs to recognize that through his actions, not just his word.